All right, welcome to the Sahara Desert in 4K. Today we're going to discuss the Dell Plus 16 laptop. Dell changed their naming convention for the worse, by the way. They actually say they regret getting rid of their XPS moniker because, first off, they got rid of it in the first place because they thought too many people were calling Dell laptops XPSs instead of just calling them like the Dell XPS, which honestly, who gives a But nevertheless, they ended up ruining everything by changing the naming lineup to like Dell, Dell Plus, Dell Pro Plus, Dell Pro Plus, Platinum, whatever. It's stupid. They ended up muddying the waters even more and made things a lot worse. I think they need to go back to Inspiron, Latitude, XPS. You get the idea. Anyway, the Dell Plus 16 is the successor to the Dell Inspiron 16. In a lot of ways, it's the same machine. The form factor, the specs, the overall feel, fit, and finish. But there are some differences and some upgrades that they've accomplished over the last year to 2 years. So today what we want to discuss is if those enhancements are any good, and if you should buy this laptop yourself. Let's get some specs out of the way really quick. This comes with 16 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, which does have some user upgradability. Comes with a 1 terabyte NVMe solid state drive, also user upgradable. Comes with a 16-inch 2.5K display. Comes with an Ultra 7 256V processor and Intel Arc graphics. All this to say that that's a lot of power, and all of that can be had for around $800. You might even be able to get that cheaper if you find the thing on sale. That is a ton of bang for your buck. And while you won't be able to play RDR2 on like the max settings, and you probably won't be able to do like 4K raw editing, you can certainly do some very, very capable video editing, photoshopping, audio editing, all kinds of really amazing, powerful things.
Yeah, that's my girl.
Using this thing as a productivity computer in general is going to be an absolute knockout home run. And what's really cool is that the Inspiron 16 for like power was hitting already around the $900 to $1,000 range for similar performance. So what makes this so special is simply that even though computers are getting more and more expensive we're only in 2026 people, as computers get more and more expensive through 2025, 2026, this is still kind of like just a little gem for under $1,000. Specs on this thing, dollar for dollar, I'm gonna go ahead and give this thing a 5 out of 5. Now, that's not a perfect laptop, and I will get into more of that later, but just bang for your buck, it's outstanding. Screen on this thing is also a 5 out of 5. As I said, it's a 16-inch, 2.5K display. It's rated for somewhere between the 350 to 400 nit range. We got, I think, around like 380 nits as we were testing brightness, but it is a matte display. It gets bright enough. You can certainly use this thing outside, next to a bright window, at a cafe. So if you're like a college, like roaming around on a college campus, or you're working in an environment with a lot of overhead lighting, stuff like that, this screen is going to be absolutely perfect. And it has very, very deep blacks, true whites, good deep colors. It is an excellent, excellent panel. Now, it's not a touch panel, and now and it does, by the way, does fold like almost inversely. It's like double jointed. It's not a touch panel, but get that out of the way there. But if you were using this thing for any kind of like web development, or let's say even you're coding or using it for CAD and you're like constantly looking at the screen for a long time, this panel is not going to be fatiguing on the eyes. It is just an absolute quality panel. I would say that this is even great for people like photo editors doing work on site, although there is a huge caveat to that I will also get into more later. And if you were using this thing for like light gaming or watching movies or something like that, it has a very good viewing angle, and again gets bright enough to where like people surrounding the laptop could all watch and enjoy. Now let's get to the I/O, which is its Achilles heel. I'm gonna go ahead and rate this thing a 2 out of 5 because it did everything else, so it does everything else like so good that I'm really like a little let down with the I/O. On this side, you have an HDMI port, and then 2 USB-C/Thunderbolt ports, Thunderbolt 4 ports, which that in and of itself is pretty outstanding. I do like and appreciate that. And then you have a super speed type A port right here, and then a TRRS jack. But here is why that I/O gets a 2 out of 5. And really, honestly, I was even thinking maybe give it a 3 out of 5. Like maybe just give it a little, like, you know, you did everything else so good, but no. Dell decided to say, F you. by making one of the USB-C ports where you have to, of course, charge it because it doesn't run on solar energy. So that leaves you with just like one Thunderbolt 4/USB-C port to do your productivity work on, or adding something like a dongle to equip storage, microphones, switches, whatever, you get the idea. And while they were generous enough to give you a USB Type-A port, which even Apple doesn't do anymore, they didn't give you a camera card reader. No, they had so much room on this laptop to put just random little things, and they didn't give it to you. And like, you know, so if you are somebody that's trying to use this thing for like Photoshop or photo editing on location, you're gonna have a pretty tough time with that because you're not gonna be able to load your camera card in there. So the fact that you don't have like Ethernet, you don't have a camera card reader, and you don't have like an extra USB-C/Thunderbolt 4 port to do stuff with because one will be used for charging, I'm definitely thinking this is like a 2 out of 5. It was a real misstep in their design. Now, with that said, the Thunderbolt 4 and USB-C does make for some ultra fast capabilities. So if you are using this thing for like, let's say podcasting or video editing, whatever, you can plug in a ton of microphones, storage, you get the idea, and this thing will power through that stuff very, very quickly. Speakers on this thing are a 3 out of 5. They're not the worst I've heard, but they're certainly not the best I've heard either. They don't advertise anything like Dolby surround sound or any of that weird nonsense, but ultimately they are just a little, they have no fluidity, no bass. They do distort a little bit in the mid-range. They're just not great speakers, and they do get loud enough to if you wanted to use it for like podcasting, listening to a podcast, something like that, but you're definitely not going to want to use it for like mastering audio or listening to music. You will certainly want a set of headphones for that. Features on it though, however, is where it starts taking its crown again. Features are a 4 out of 5. You get an FHD plus webcam, the quality of which is actually quite good. Here's what that looks like now. This is the camera quality you can expect from the Dell Plus 16. It's actually not too bad. Maybe not as good as the Lenovo Aura series, but still pretty solid for work stuff. You don't get a Hello compatible fingerprint reader, but you do get a Hello compatible facial recognition on the camera. So that's pretty nice. By the way, the camera also does have this little shutter up here, a little physical shutter that you can close if you don't want to, like, you know, start an OnlyFans page without yourself knowing. And as I said before, it does have USB-C, Thunderbolt 4, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth, and pretty much any of the modern day things that you would want. So yeah, features on this thing are pretty outstanding. And again, it has also a nice like metal chassis, the 2.5K display that can bend every which way that you want, short of it being a tablet. And then lastly, portability. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 4 to 5 on that as well, because the thing gets about an advertised 17 hours of battery life, which we all know you're never gonna get that. But if you are using this thing with like general purpose use, we were able to get around the 14-hour range in all of our tests. That's keeping the screen on sort of like what I would call a favorable brightness setting, something that's kind of like just, it's like just a little bit above the middle. And then doing things like Word documents, YouTube videos, that kind of thing. So battery life on it is pretty outstanding because they can shove a big old fat battery on the inside of this thing. It's 4.1 pounds. It's a unibody metal chassis. It's built like pretty well, maybe not as robust as like the ThinkPads or anything, but it has metal hinges and they're very smooth. And ultimately, I think that this thing can take a beating if you're whipping this thing in and out of a backpack at a college campus. Again, an airport with TSA, you get the idea. It is built very well, and it also has a bit of user serviceability too, where you can pry off the bezel on there, replace the display, open up the bottom, upgrade some things, mess around with some stuff. Portability on this thing and reliability on this thing are ultimately going to be pretty rock solid. And then last but not least, the keyboard on the trackpad. Full-size keyboard, gray keycaps, backlit, and they feel really good and tactile and responsive. Not really much more you can ask for there. And then you got a fat old trackpad that's the size of my hand, and it's multi-touch and glass. So honestly, input on this thing, or basically interacting with this thing, is very, very stellar. Gonna go ahead and give that a 5 out of 5 as well. So last but not least, who is this computer for? I think that it is for accountants, because they get the little full-size numpad on the right side there. You also have a big high-resolution screen. I think it is for maybe, like, I wanna say photo and video editors, but you really can't use this thing on location unless you're ready to have like a dongle or some kind of like USB-C plugin that allows you to read your camera cards and access your storage. It's not really a gaming laptop, but you can certainly do things like Minecraft and some like light level things there. You could probably even get away with playing like Grand Theft Auto on it as long as the settings are cut down slightly. I think this would be a fantastic computer for podcasters and people that run like maybe let's say a mobile audio studio. And then ultimately this is just gonna be a fantastic everyday like productivity laptop where you have a ton of screen real estate and you can do things like Word, Excel, Chrome, Firefox, and just use a ton of computing power to knock out pretty much anything that you need to do. And we have also tested this thing with CAD programs, and it does happen to do CAD pretty well because ultimately you do have a very fast processor. Art graphics aren't too bad. And with 16 gigabytes of RAM that can be upgraded, this thing can churn through all of the models and all, you know, it's maybe not gonna be as good as like a dedicated graphics laptop, but it's certainly going to be adequate. And you could use this thing for CAD work if you want to. So do I recommend this laptop? Absolutely yes. It's a very, very good machine. It is a very, very good price, and it's built very, very well with few Achilles heels, other than maybe the lack of a camera card and maybe some like kind of tinny speakers. But ultimately, I really, really like this machine, and it's very refreshing to find out that we have good computers underneath the $1,900, hell, $800 range. You just don't really get that good bang for your buck anymore. And while this thing may not be affordable for like everybody, if you can swing the price tag, I think you're gonna be very, very happy with it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We hope this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe. Please tell your friends about this channel, and we will be back with another video really soon.